welcome to the Astro Forecast for the week of February 27th to March 5th. We are moving into March already. This is an important week astrologically, and it's not it's not a busy week astrologically. There's not some like big things happening, but there's big things happening in the astrology that's going to affect the collective, and it's leading up to something that's going to happen next week. So let's talk about that. So we're starting off this week kind of moving from first quarter to second quarter phase of the moon on Monday. So this means that the moon is gaining in light from that super new moon in Pisces that we had last week. And that moon was very dreamy. You know, Pisces season is very subconscious, healing, therapeutic, you know, this creative, flowy vibe that doesn't have a lot of energy and gumption, you know. And so if you're feeling tired, as I was feeling so tired last week, it's okay. And, you know, Pisces rules the subconscious. It rules dream state and understanding what is coming up to you through your subconscious. So dream journaling, understanding your dreams, going to be big keys for these next few weeks as we are traversing Pisces before we move into Aries season. Now, the planets are all moving forward, but again, Pisces season isn't about get up and go and let's get things moving. And Mars is still moving through Gemini. Oh my God, dude, this is like just this Gemini energy of like, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I? But as Mars is gaining momentum to move forward, we're feeling less and less of that wishy-washy energy. I know I am. I'm hoping you are as well. So Monday, we kind of have a lot of energy to like get things going in our life as much as we're going to get during Pisces season. We feel more aligned. We're feeling optimistic. We start off the week in a really kind of positive mindset. We don't really have any major aspects until Thursday, but I'm going to say there's a few things that caught my eye for Wednesday, March 1st, as we start off the month. We have a square to Jupiter, a square to Venus, and the moon squaring Jupiter and Venus, meaning that we feel like we want to please people. We just want to like get things done, but we're feeling a little frustrated. We want to get people on our side. Be careful you don't take too much, you know, people pleasing aspects. You can feel really sensitive and you don't want to let people down, so you might take on too much. So just be careful with that, especially on Wednesday. Now, Thursday, we have Mercury moving signs into Pisces. So we're going to have more Piscean energy coming in. Now, Mercury is our mind, our communication, our thought processing. And moving into Pisces, we are now very intuitive. We're very aware of our emotions. We're very sensitive. We're being able to sort of feel things, right? Pisces rules that kind of that ethereal spiritual realm, and it is mutable water, right? It's water that flows into all the crevices. So when Mercury moves there, our mind, our thought processing becomes enhanced with this ability. So this is more intuitive downloads. This is more sensitivity. So pay attention to the way you feel. This is also a great time creatively to start to write, to start to journal about how you're feeling, maybe even doing connecting to others. Meditation. This is a great time for meditation. You might also feel kind of tired right now, you know, and that's okay too. Dream state processing, messages, intuition, creativity, spiritual pursuits. Great opportunity for this. Also great for healing, for therapy. As I think I mentioned in there, great for therapy and seeing a counselor, talking about your feelings and helping somebody help you to process those feelings. Because if you knew how to do it, you would have done so by now, right? Right. Now, on this day, we also have a conjunction, so meaning two planets coming together at the same sign, at same degree, and same minute. And it's Venus, which is what we love and value, our beauty aesthetic, our kind of love nature, and then Jupiter coming together at this time too. And they're both in Aries. This is passion. This is drive. This is motivation. This is us being excited to do all the things, right? Jupiter expands whatever he touches, and Venus is like, oh, we want to just go. We want to get things done in Aries. We are bold, we are passionate, we are courageous, and we want to connect with people. We are in leadership. We want to make bold moves in our life. This might encourage you to make some drastic changes to your appearance. All the planets are direct. I would just say be wise with your choice with that. You don't want to, maybe shave off all your hair and you think, oh God, why did I do that? Impulsivity could be part of this as well. So be careful with that. Follow your passion, new adventures, love, money, harmony, happiness, engage with people. This is a great day to socialize, to go to an event, to have dinner, brunch, lunch, whatever it is works for you, coffee with somebody. Awesome. So good. Also on this day, we have Mercury conjoining to Saturn. Now, and Mercury is our mind, thought processing, intellect. And this is right before he goes into Pisces. So I probably should have said this before that because it's Aquarius. So as Mercury goes into those last degrees of Aquarius, he's going to meet up with Saturn that's sitting there at this 29 degree of Aquarius. Now, I'm going to talk about that in a moment, but I'll first finish this. So Mercury coming together at the 29 degree with Saturn. 29 degrees of any sign is considered an anaretic or critical degree in astrology. It's because that a planet is so much that sign, it's almost testing, did it learn the lesson? Did we learn the lesson of what this sign had to offer? So the final degrees of Aquarius can bring up idealization, being a holier than thou values. I know what's right for humanity. I judge everyone with this higher than thou stick, in terms of I know what's right and wrong, and you guys are failing the grade, right? So when someone is so Aquarius or Aquarius turned up too loud, it can be very judgmental. It can be very much, kind of punitive and wanting to kind of bring people in line through punishment. And it can also be very like heady. You're so much in your brain, you're not feeling your feelings, you're thinking your feelings. And you can then think yourself through a whole bunch of things. Overthinking is another one. So with Mercury and Saturn at this final degree, this is going to enhance this degree of Aquarius for us all this week, because Saturn is sitting at this final degree of Aquarius before it moves into Pisces. Now, Saturn is about responsibility, duty, the taskmaster of the zodiac, right? He's making sure you're doing what you're supposed to do, why you came here to do this. This is also about self-mastery, right? So with Mercury and Saturn here, the opportunity is to really master your gifts and talents, to be of service into the collective. That's Aquarius, beautiful shining lights of Aquarius is being thoughtful to your fellow man, doing things that better humanity that might not be easy, but it's the right thing to do, right? There's that righteousness or rightness, right? So doing things that feel right. Now, Mercury and Saturn together can be a little bit isolating, right? Where you're sort of sitting in your head and thinking about these topics. On the positive side of things, this can be elevating technology. Aquarius is technology, the internet. So this is great for communication and bringing concepts to new lights of understanding, being really discerning in what you pick up and what you sort of say, this, I believe in this, and what I don't believe in anymore. This is a great energy to create new things in your life. I feel like it would be a great time in the collective for a new technology to be unveiled, because this is like the sign of doing things better. So maybe this would be a new energy source, or a lot of astrologers feel that this year a new energy source will be unveiled or shown to the masses, because it'll be as big, if not bigger, than electricity, right? The discovery of electricity. So this could be part of that, where they're talking about, the splitting of the atom and then creating an energy source from that. Aquarius, right? Energy, Aquarius, splitting of atoms, Aquarius. Like it's all this Aquarian energy that moves through, the air, seemingly unbeknownst to us. It's very magical, but it's also very technological. So critical thinking is needed now. You can create lasting structures, productivity, stay positive, and use this mental aptitude for productive pursuits. Okay, don't allow your mind to sit into and dwelling on the dredges of society, and why are people taking advantage of the poor, and why aren't we all crusading for people that that are being hurt in Palestine and Ukraine, and all of those things. We can bring our minds to all the atrocities in the world, and we are doing nothing. right? We're just sitting up here and ruminating on things that are happening in the world. And I want to remind you, your soul incarnated on this earth plane to evolve and to grow. And what you can help, what you can affect, that's what I want you to focus, right? If you're feeling drawn and connected to what's happening in Palestine, then make a donation, support Palestinian efforts, right? If you're feeling, drawn to or what's happening in Turkey right now, with the earthquake and all of that stuff and the aftershocks that are hitting that part of the world, send donations, amplify the message, start talking about it with people and try to make a difference in that way. What you can do from your place, maybe start gathering supplies and organize a convoy of supplies over to them. There's lots of things you can do, but I want you to focus on what you can do, what you can affect. Because when we start to focus on all the things that are happening in the world, we bring our power outside of ourselves. And now we are living in conspiracy. Now we're living in sadness, in anger, in all the things that really have nothing to do with us, right? If it is affecting you, then it is meant for you to do something about it. Now, not to sit and dwell in the, idealization or the righteousness of it, right? That's Aquarius turned up too loud. This can also be confusion, communication, being subjected to overthinking, or you're not doing this right, or this is the right way of doing things. I can't believe you're so stupid. You didn't see that. Like that can be a manifestation of this energy. So being careful with that, I want you to focus on what you can affect, what feels right to you, and what kind of change do you want to see in the world, right? I don't know who says it, but it says, be the change that you want to see in the world. I think it's Mahatma Gandhi. So do that. This is a great energy for that. So this brings me to something that's going to be in effect all week. And it's going to be in effect actually from February 26th. So probably already from the time that you're watching this, to March 7th. And that is Saturn sitting at that anaretic degree, that 29 degrees of Aquarius. Now we're going to see in the world, we're going to start to see probably humanitarian efforts ramp up. That's Aquarius, right? We're going to see inventions, social events, innovative subjects coming to mind, things that are like really going to elevate humanity, elevate technology. Aquarius is about what already is existing. We want to make that better and bring it to a place where we all benefit, right? It's very socialistic in terms of we all benefit. When we all rise, we rise together, right? So that's Medicare, healthcare for all. It's, all the children going to school in a way that feels good for them and that is honoring their culture, not trying to ram it down their throats, right? So we really are wanting to, Aquarius is also healing from the past and understanding this bright, amazing future where we want to go. Now, Aquarius is also very technological, very thoughts, up in our heads, very idealistic in thoughts and values, things like that. So at this 29 degree of Saturn, Saturn at 29 degrees of Aquarius, this whole week, we're going to be feeling this like we need to be responsible. We came here to do something, right? What did you come here to do? What's your soul's mission? So if you're sitting in grief, if you're sitting in a place where you're feeling disconnected from self, there might be a nudge this week to reconnect to that, to start to heal this grief. And because we're in Pisces season, great time to call in a therapist, call in a coach, right? Go with somebody that feels right to you, but please don't stagnate. This energy is not going to let you. And what's going to happen as you stagnate is you will cycle in this energy of thinking that starts to make you ruminate and then leads to depression and anxiety, because now you are sort of depressing your true emotions. You're thinking things through. You're not feeling things through. You're not moving it forward in some way that helps you to evolve your soul. You're just ruminating. So we want to really avoid the rumination. Okay. And if you see someone else ruminating, say, where do you want to be? Who do you want to be now? What do you want? What direction do you want to go? Let's start thinking about a positive future. That's Aquarius, right? Turned up perfect is what's a positive future that we all want to vision together, and how do we get there together, right? It's us all shining our lights in our purpose. Something to think about. So Friday, nothing really too major going on. There are a few aspects on this day to the moon that's making me feel like you want to make sure that you're grounding and you're focusing on what is true. Okay. Don't get caught up in illusion. Don't get caught up in conspiracy. Don't get caught up in manipulation and control tactics. Focus on what you can control and what is happening for you. I had a client last year, an astrology client, who was very caught up in the government coming in to try to put a vaccine in his arm, and like all these kinds of things. And I don't think like that, right? I know that's never going to happen, right? We will never. There is countries around the world who have less protection for human rights than we do, and their governments didn't do that. Right. So it's like, I know that's not going to happen. Logically, I know that's not going to happen. But he got himself in this kind of cycle of rumination about control and manipulation. And this is happening to the people around him. And when I asked him, because he's like, Chantel, what do you think about this? And I said, it has nothing to do with me. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, okay. I said, you live on an acreage, right? He said, yeah. And I said, if you had turned off the news, the radio, the newspapers, and you had gone about your daily life in rural Alberta and living your wonderful life, would you have even known that COVID existed? And he's like, no. I said, I know, because they didn't really do anything in terms of restrictions or things like that in some of the rural parts of the world, because I mean, farmers, and they've lived very rural life in small towns, there wasn't any kind of contamination or anything coming in. They still live their life, right? Restaurants were still open in a lot of rural places. And they said, so really, if you were to look back on it and take out TV, media, social media, all of that stuff, and just looked at what was true for you, did COVID really affect you? He's like, no. I said, right? Do you know anyone that got sick? He's like, yeah, but it was just kind of a cold. I said, okay. So if we took COVID out of it and just said it was a cold, does that feel better for you? He's like, yeah. So I said, you don't know anyone who died from it or anything? So fine. Okay. So then I said, if that was your reality, then what are you really attaching to? Really? So what is true for you? You're attaching to other people's realities that is not your own. And you don't have any proof that any of these things actually happened for you, right? He's like, you're right. I said, so you can see how you're giving your power away to these things that have nothing really to do with your life, right? It's like, yeah. I said, and that's really a blessing, because there are people that were affected by it, that did lose loved ones to it. There were people that are affected by the mandates. That is true. There were people that were affected by other things. But when we look at your life specifically, nothing, right? Right. So I said, so if you want to feel empowered, how would you feel empowered? He goes, I guess I would just like keep doing what I'm doing and follow my purpose, which was creative. He's very, very creative man. And I said, when you create, how do you feel? He goes, oh, I'm like lost in this beautiful world of creativity. I said, that's where I want you to live. That's what I want you to focus on, right? Because that's how we create this amazing world. And his art does touch people who are in major cities, who were affected by COVID, who were kind of in this world, in the story of all of this. And he brought hope. What he does was a good thing, right? He very Aquarian. He actually took a concept with metal making and took it to the next level. It was one of the coolest clients I've had. Really, I mean, all my clients are pretty cool, but what he did was like, wow, that's cool that you do that. How did you learn how to do that? And he learned how to do that from a young age from a gentleman who was passing down his trade in rural Alberta. And he's one of the last, metal kind of smiths art stuff that he does in the world, because everything's being automated. So he has this craftsmanship that people seek him out around the world to do. And I was like, that is exciting. Live there, live in that potential, live in how much your business is growing, right? And he was like so excited. So it's a little bit of a story of Aquarius turned up too loud, right? We can start to bring our power outside of ourselves with all of these things that are happening around the world. And I'm going to invite you to bring your power back to you. Saturn is about mastery, self-mastery, and being the kind of the master of our domain, but also being an authority, being a power figure that's helping the world in some way, being structure, order, duty, father time is Saturn, right? All of these things that help us but structure our world. Saturn can also bring isolation. Saturn can also bring a feeling of scarcity and fear, right? Where are we not stepping into our truest self? So if you're feeling those things, bring it into light by empowering yourself and go into your gifts and talents and be the self-mastery, right? Use self-mastery, not that sentence, didn't make sense. Meditation, going to the gym, strengthening your mind, body, spirit, doing all of things, watching shows that uplift you, turn off the things that are making you sad. Okay. Saturday, be careful not to overindulge, overspend, or overcommit. There's some energy there. Can also feel kind of mood swingish or a little impulsive in actions. And then Sunday, you're going to want to be free and responsibilities, doing all the things like chores and cleaning and all that stuff, probably not going to really appeal to you on Sunday. But things got to get done. I got to get done, right? So maybe just bring yourself a little bit of freedom on Sunday to go for brunch or do something that makes your heart happy. I'm gonna prescribe for you something that makes your heart happy this weekend. The Saturday, Sunday that's coming up. And then Tuesday of next week, we have a full moon in Virgo. That is very interesting. And Saturn moves into Pisces. So Saturn moves into a new sign every 2.5 years or so, and that really changes a lot of things in the collective. So as Saturn moves out of Aquarius into Pisces, we're going to feel that energy sort of starting to shift to the ethereal world. So I'll talk more about that next week, but wishing you this week a wonderful grounded week, bringing your awareness back to what you can affect in this life, in this world at this point in time, being a helper and a supporter, and finding and being with what brings you joy this week, especially. All right. Have a wonderful week ahead, and I will see you soon.